are in Nefesh Hachaim, Perakim, actually the last parak of Perakim. We'll make a siyum on the Perakim today or next week or the week after, but Perakim Parak Ches, before we enter into what I call the Yeshiva Shashar, which is Shar Daled. You know, in yeshivas, they learn Nefesh Hachaim, but they only learn Shar Daled, which talks about Torah, which is a huge error, because you'll see yourself that you virtually can't understand what he means, except for to take out a couple sentences here and there, unless you know Parak Aleph, Beis, Gimel, and the Perakim, to understand the whole system. This is a book, you know. He built it, you know. He built it as a sefer. But here in Parak Vav and Parak Zayin, and now in Parak Ches, he's discussing. Again, we know the background here is that he was worried about the strange movements of the early Hasidim. And to sum it all up, what he seems to have felt, which doesn't mean that it's true nowadays, by the way, doesn't mean, but you're talking about a long time ago. What he seems to have felt was that once you introduce sincere alternative forms of spirituality into your avodas Hashem, you're on dangerous ground. Or as if I find it very spiritual to sit on the floor and daven, you know, it's part of my background. So I'm not getting to the halacha, but let's say it's 100% okay to sit on the floor and daven, you know. Ashrei yoshvei veisech. You know, I just find it spiritual. I find I'm connected to the earth. I'm just making this up. You know, I find.
Crossed in your feet.
Right. So there's, except for that, maybe it's chukas akum. You know, but those are forms like the yogis tell us that that's actually makes the blood flow in a certain way, and it's. But if I find that to be a better way to daven, according to seichel, like I daven with more kavanah that way, like, you know, so daven that way. But what the Nefesh Hachaim is saying, Parak Vav, Parak Zayin, and now Parak Ches, is that it's when you're doing something which is outside that even in Avodah Zarah, people saw spirituality. As the Rambam says in Moreh Nevuchim, it wasn't like they were just a bunch of idiots bowing down to stones. They saw a spirituality in it, and that's, you know, even on Hayom Hazeh, there's something there. Maybe there is a spirituality in it. Okay, so Al Pi Kabbalah, it's a Sitra Achra, but Sitra Achra is also part of the Mareches of Shemayim, yeah? Sitra Achra is also not something to be sneezed at. So, just means the other side of the other side, you know. It's not like a sheker or ra necessarily. I'm sure a lot of it is, but it's not sheker or ra. But the thing is that once you engage in something, in bringing the Shechina into this world, so we're talking about everybody's tzaddikim, but I want to do it in a different way that Hashem said to do it. Tefillah, tzitzis, zmanim, zman tefillah, zman tzitzis, zman kriya shema. If I don't do it that way, you don't know where it's going to end up. And it's interesting because I think that the Nefesh Hachaim is always misquoted, as the whole Perakim is all a shmooze, like a polemic against being over Zman Tefillah. And it's silly, because what he's saying is that Zman Tefillah is a tiny thing. Let's say it's a tiny thing. We don't have to talk about the importance of Zman Tefillah, but once it's okay to violate halacha, even the most minuscule halacha, because you're at a higher level of spirituality, yesh lanu bayot. And the emphasis, like on the one hand, like we want spirituality, and we can be attracted to that, as were thousands of millions. And you know, you don't want to be just like a cold, you know, halachic soul. But on the other hand, Hashem gave us a derech in spirituality, which might be a more difficult derech, by the way. It might be a more difficult derech, but it is a derech. And if you're Jewish and you're following Judaism, this is the derech. this is the derech. Like, it says by Yisrael, interesting lashon in Rashi there, he niach kol avodah zarah sheba'olam. I think it's Rabbi Yerucham is medayich that he didn't bring any of it with him when he came to Torah Hashem. He didn't bring one drop of it with him. He niach, he put it all aside. And this is so important. When you're dealing, I had this chus with dealing Baalei Tshuva for years. The first thing I tended to say, is that a word? I had a tendency to say was, look, I need you to start here. If you want to learn about Yiddishkeit, you want to come to Shiurim, you want to learn even Aleph Beis, I need you to blank your canvas, complete erase. Later on, maybe with a lot of chachma, you can incorporate certain things. Everything is good, and as zdoidas nasa kuschuyas, it could be. But at this moment, you would teach people. I gave a 10-week course in Hebrew language, so as soon as it was all etymology. That the ben is the same word as binyan, which is the same, etc. Words that are not obviously connected, but I would show them for the purpose of memory. Mostly it was a memory exercise to show them, kol, ochal, macheles, that it's all one word. But inevitably, a group of people would be sitting there, wonderful people, nice people, not people that were trained in yeshivas. They would always come up with other English words which also fit into this, But it's like blank, you have to erase, delete, Control, Alt, Delete. You need to start fresh. And that's basically what we've been learning until now.
Question. The way we're speaking, it sounds like we're saying spirituality, and halacha something else. But halacha is
a way of spirituality.
Right. The way Hashem is telling us, this is how you get to.
Yeah. But what we're addressing here is that there are millions of people that it didn't make them feel spiritual enough. So, if you're good with it, stick with it. But I just say, people feel more spirituality, but I do too. They feel more spirituality at a Hasidic Shetish than they feel putting on tefillin in the morning. So there's something special about it. The nigulim b'chal, is that something which is part of Yiddishkeit or is it not part of Yiddishkeit? Is that spiritual, or are we integrating something else?
What's against halacha with it?
Some people argue it's not the Nusach of Friday night.
It's probably dafka the Nusach of Friday night, but it's probably dafka the right Nusach of Friday night. But Karl Bach himself was always asked, nobody ever davened like this. Do you think the Arizal davened like this? Do you think so his answer always was, that was his answer. He never, he was a Labdin, right? He didn't answer.
The Ari, there was no Kabbalah Shabbos.
Okay, so he said the Ari, it says that they went out to the fields and they went out. We don't know if they were dancing. Okay, let me go further. Yeah.
Yeah, what we learned previously about Klipas Noga, does that help us understand what's going on in this discussion?
Yeah, I think so. I think it's a good point because, in other words, there's an attraction to anything which has to do with the light of the Shekhinah, and we can get attracted to the klipa of the Shekhinah and get stuck there. Let me summarize this all in one sentence. L'dati aklusha. There's two tzadim to this argument, and they're very, very good tzadim. One side is, you're looking, somebody's going to go into what was then, let's say, the Rebbe of Elimelech, the Rebbe of Zusha, the Kedusha Nifla, and see what's going on there, and it's all being mistabek to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and it's all with a little bit of Divrei Torah or a lot of Divrei Torah. They say Reb Zusha spoke very little Divrei Torah. It was all about, he held the Divrei Torah was also too low of a madrega. It's all about being mistabek to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So somebody's going to walk into here and say, oh, this is all wrong. Ma pitom. Ma pitom. Very schwer argument. On the other hand, the other side of the argument is, and I'm certainly not paskening on it, but not just halacha is halacha, and certainly you can't be over at halacha, that's for sure. Who knows that they were over at halacha? But maybe the early Hasidim did some questionable things. But it's deeper than that. It's deeper than that. Maybe this is not Jewish. Maybe this is not the way, Hashem gave a Torah. Before Matan Torah, we learned Taver Lishma. So try this, try that, experiment. These were holy souls. Avram, Yitzchak, and Yaakov. What's the question? But once Moshe Rabbeinu gave the Torah, this is the other side of the argument, we have a derech. And if we have a derech, See, I wonder, lahavdil, how it works. Like, maybe somebody here knows. Like, if you're going to like a Buddhist yeshiva, like, so, like, and you really try to hop the thing. Are you allowed to mix a little Judaism into it here and there? Yeah. I don't know the halacha, but you know, but okay, no, low, but it's really the same shiloh, you know.
Isn't this about areas that are between halacha? I mean, this is gray areas of how you daven at night.
Some.
What are you learning?
Zman tefillah is not a. So again, let me just repeat my you said, because I tend to lose myself, or you're. I don't want to go on tangents here, but when he talks about zman tefillah, I don't think he cares about zman tefillah as much as he says. What he cares about is like that's a sibid. That's a sibid that there's something wrong here. Okay, so you daven 2 minutes late, makara. But the point is that if either you're doing it God's way or you're doing it your way or some Eastern way or some Western way. So you have to be like Yisro. But let's start fresh. Is this Yiddishkeit? Is it not Yiddishkeit? It might be a good idea, but it doesn't make it Yiddishkeit. It might be nice. It might be spiritual. It might be feel good. It might make me live longer. But is it Yiddishkeit? And Yiddishkeit's in danger. Let's go to a next very important subject. He starts off all of these Perakim with, here's what the Yetzer Hara is telling you, referring to the Hasidim.
If we understand it historically as well, could it be that he's so right in his mind because it was they thought it was a reform movement coming along? Maybe it's because
it's hard to, for me, it's a little bit hard to imagine like what was going on, but you see that the Rosh Yeshivas were against like the Karl Bach stuff. Not that anything was wrong necessarily. It's like, there was like, get with the times, and I was with him, by the way. He called me on stage and, because he didn't care if he had a good voice or a bad voice. But the Rosh Yeshivas were against it. But when I look, let's say, you could watch a video of, I don't want to start with names here, but with the renewal movement, and it's beautiful. It's beautiful stuff, but it's Keneged Halacha. Men and women together. They're not doing what we, there's a video of Simchas Torah, the renewal movement. So what happened was that the head of the movement had a sefer Torah. I watched it, and everybody was in a big circle around him, and he called each one to come and to pull the sefer Torah towards them. So in other words, his concept was that he was in the middle, and then the sefer Torah went out to each person, rolled out to each person, and then each person made a little, what?
on the floor?
Not on the floor, in the air. And then each person said a little prayer or a little regesh or something, and then they passed it to the next person like a clock. And everybody had a little drush inspired by the Torah, and he was Kollel in the center. And I'm looking at this, and I said, okay, but what religion is this? It might, I don't know, I mean, it certainly made people feel good. But is it the Ratzon Hashem? And then he told a story, one of the Reb Nachman's famous stories. So, is it the Ratzon Hashem? Is it Judaism? Does it have to be Judaism? That's the machlokes here. So let me go further, please. There's one more thing that the Yetzer Hara is going to bug you about. Chavilos rayas. This one's got a lot of rayas too. And I'm rushing because I want to get into something here. Shetachlis avodas ha'adam. This is the Yetzer Hara. Quote, Yetzer Hara. Tachlis avodas ha'adam hurak lahasig yiras haroimimus. Is to get to yiras haroimimus. Does that sound very bad?
Everything else is
okay. It's Yetzer Hara, according to him. Rak al zeh you elav v'libai kol hayom. So it is a form of the end justifying the means, as you say. And my tachlis is to get to Yiras HaRoivus. Now the truth is, it's true, my tachlis is to get to Yiras HaRoivus. So again, we have a very Dakistic problem over here. We do want to get to Yiras HaRoivus, but here's the Yetzer Hara telling you that just get to Yiras HaRoivus. V'sheyiras ha'oidish, for instance is mine. V'sheyiras ha'oidish, being afraid of the oidish. Like, why don't you do averes? Here's the question: Why don't you be Mechalel Shabbos right now? You stand to make $100,000. Why don't you do it? So think to yourself, why aren't I doing it? So like there's a lot of levels. One level is, it's hard to say, well, it's not, it's not my minhag. I mean, $100,000. So let's say a good frum Jew will say, it's not worth it for me to go to Gehenna. It's not worth it for me $100,000. How about 200? Well, how long is Gehenna? 11 months. Like, like everything has a price. Yeah. So, so the question is, like, if I could go at it as Yuras HaOidish, and I believe that there's 3 madregas here that the Rambam points out, or I'm a more chush of a person, and I could say, Yuras HaOidish. No, it's not Yuras HaOidish. I'm above that. That's not the point. It's Yuras HaRoimamus. I don't know. We got to figure it out. But Yuras HaRoimamus, what do the words mean? Huh? What do the words mean? Don't tell me before. The words mean Yuras HaRoimamus. What Roimamus mean? I know what Yura means. Huh?
Afraid of Hashem's grace.
Heights?
You're overwhelmed.
Afraid of the greatness.
Whatever
So
way-
you're giving me a psychological touch. I'm asking you what the words mean. Yuras HaRoimamus.
Of the
What?
greatness of the,
What does the word mean?
of the elevation.
Elevations.
Elevation.
So which elevations are we talking about? Roimamus. Roimamus. Is it Roimamos? Mus is plural.
Is it now?
Romamos. Romamos kel bigroinum. Romamos kel.
It's not Romamos. Romamos
Which
is
means-
not Romamos.
Which means,
Romamos is elevation.
I think
Height.
heights.
It's Heinz.
Huh? It is, but I'm just saying, what does it mean? But okay, so I'm the guy who's going. So this is Yetzer Hara. Yiras ha'odesh ubusha mibnei adam himida grua shebegruas. You're the lowest of the low. This is Yetzer Hara talking. What, you're afraid of Gehenna? I don't know. I'm afraid of Gehenna. Get it out of your head. Right? Get it out of your head. L'sharesh, it means uproot. Osa milipcha. V'yaniach lecha yitzrecha lahaisif yira al yira b'yiras haroivus. Get to the main thing, which is yira, build on yira, and get to yiras haroivamus. Ad, this is the Yetzer Hara. Ad sheyikva b'libcha. You should get it clear in your head, in your heart. Sheyiras ha'odesh v'abusha mibnei adam. That if you're afraid of oidship, or if you have busha from people, that's, I think, the major driver. Busha from people. He avera is an avera. It's a boirech mebana keborech mina havera. Ashiyucha liyash tilakin bereshtish loyla afrush beisur bezman sheilach hayiras hameroivus karai. It doesn't mean anything, he's saying, because the Yetzer Hara is saying that is, because if your issue is you're afraid of people, so what's going to happen when there's no people? When you're alone. If your issue is afraid of oidish, so what's going to happen when you get over it? Like you get over it. If it's good for me right now, you get over it. But yours haraivibus, you can never get over. That's the Hasidic shot, which I like. That's what she's calling Yetzer Hara.
This is wrong.
It's wrong.
Isn't
So he explains why it's wrong. V'yakal lecha kol davar, everything will become kal to you. Asher yira lecha panim mipanim shoinim bazeh. And what will come out from the shim yoichichacha adam. If a person can show you v'yira lecha shato over aleza did yasiaf chalibla shleila frushe bizeh. Somebody will show you something is a halacha. You're not allowed to do it. Not allowed to do it. It's a din. It's a din. So yasiacha libcha, your heart will take you away. Shaloila frushe is not to separate from the din. Kozman shiuris abachiach hapanecha abracha shirakein yiras alakim bezerak yiras adam yiras chitzayis. I'm not going to fall for that. This is the Yetzer Hara. I'm not going to fall for not drinking this treif wine because it's yiras ha'odesh. No, I'm bigger than that, and I'm waiting till I get to yiras ha'roimamus. So what's going to happen? You're going to drink the wine. That's which probably is true. In other words, if I have a hasaga of a great madrega, like that's for amateurs, Yiras ha'odesh. Like go look for your, and it's a dangerous place, but it's all Yetzer Hara. But let me allow me for a moment, please. Just as a hakdama to the 5 minutes that I want to talk about this. Somebody asked me, like, really a good erlich question. But again, I want you to, don't jump to the answer. But somebody just asked me this, like a random question. Somebody said, like, maybe you can help me, he said to me. I've been thinking about, I was going through the Yud Gimel Ikrim, Animam and Animam, and I believe them all. Whatever that means, I believe them all. Some of them is a leap of faith. Some of them I know. Some of them I went to an Esha Torah convention. Somehow I believe them all. But when you talk about, he said, Avas Hashem, which is not one of the. You talk about Avas Hashem, just to love Hashem. So he says, I don't, what does that mean? In other words, sof kol sof, I believe that Hashem created the world. I believe He created me. I believe He gave the Torah. I believe there's going to be Tchias HaMesim. I believe there's going to be Mashiach. I believe. But on the other hand, like, what does it mean to love something or someone, or when it's impossible to be massing it? So the reason I said is don't snap to, everyone's going, Don't rush here, because this is not the question that everybody asks. Everybody asks, all the Mefarshim ask, how could there be a tzivoy and ahava? You can't force somebody to love your wife, yeah? You can't force somebody to love it's a good thing to love your wife, for sure. But you can't force somebody to love your wife. That's what everybody asks. That's not what this guy was asking. He's not asking, and I know everybody's mind jumped there, but not asking, how could you command me to love Hashem? Either you do or you don't. It's a davar shebelev. What he's asking is, what does it even mean? Forget about forcing me, not forcing me. What does it even mean to love something as amorphous as HaKadosh Baruch Hu? What are you loving exactly? That's what he meant. It's a legitimate question. I mean, is it real? If somebody's like, I love God, I just love God. I'm in love with God. I understand you love people. Avas Yisrael. I understand you love Torah. I can understand that. I understand you Avas Eretz Yisrael. You go around Eretz Yisrael. I love it. I understand I love my wife. I understand I love my children. I hope my wife loves me, my children. But Avas Hashem is such it's such an amorphous thing, Hashem, that we don't really know. We believe it, but it's very hard to love it. So not wanting to give a trite answer to an important question, and it happens to be right into where we're at. The Pashut Pshat in the Rambam is that there's 3 madregas. The Rambam, I'll read you the Rambam. There's 3 madregas in Judaism. This is so fundamental. This is so fundamental. There's Judaism for beginners, for dummies. That's Yiras HaEinish. Think of it like chinuch. You're mechanech your children. So you're going to be mechanech your children in Yiras HaReibabus, Yiras HaEinish. Don't do that. You're going to get in trouble. You get in trouble for me. Get to a higher madrega, you're going to get in trouble with God. You're not going to have siyata d'shmaya. Your business is not going to work. Nothing is going to work. That's the beginner level. This is the Rambam said. There's a higher level of Yiras HaReibabus, undefined so far. And then there's a higher level, even though everybody threw out probably a correct definition, but I want to think about it properly. And then there's a higher level of Ahavas Hashem. Ahavas Hashem. It seems to go in that direction. So the Chovos HaLevavos, which was my go-to place, in Shar Avas Hashem. So Shar Avas Hashem, page 1, he says, Hapirush Shel Avas Hashem. Introductory remarks. Who? This is the sentence. Who kalois hanefesh v'natoisa ba'atzma el habayre. Kalois hanefesh. Chaf lamed vav taf. We said to you before, kol, ochal, tachlis, kalkala, kala. Vayikach es ha'ma'acheles lishchetes b'nai. What does it mean? Totality. All of them. Hasna einenu ukal. It doesn't get consumed. Kol. Kol mikol kol. So that's what, so klois hanefesh means what? Right, entirety and totality of my nefesh. Who klois hanefesh vinatoisa ba'atzma. Underline. El habayre. My heart's, or nefesh, natural leaning.
As opposed to my nefesh.
Is what?
As opposed to my nefesh. Natural leaning, is that what you're saying? Minitais from?
No, vinatoisa ba'atzma. My nefesh will itself lean, naturally lean. Right. Ba'atzma. By itself. El habayre. Why? Kedei shetidbak ba'oiroi ha'elyon. So that it could be mistabek ba'oiroi with Hashem's light ha'elyon. And the rest is commentary. But how do you know? Tell me true or false. Kulanu chachamim, kulanu nevoinim. How do you know if you love somebody? We've all questioned ourselves with this. How do you know if you love somebody? I think one of the big simanim is if you naturally want to be with them. No particular siba. You just call to say hello. I mean, it would seem that the nefesh, if one works on their nefesh to the correct madrega, one's nefesh naturally wants to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. So it's Avas Hashem.
Isn't that Dveikus?
Okay. Dveikus is when you are close to Hashem.
So the desire to want to be.
We're talking, but I think you're missing the emphasis. We're not talking about the nifal here. We're talking about the poel. We're talking about the process, or how do you? Dveikus is where you get to. Nagid. Navi had dveikus with Hashem. Moshe Rabbeinu. What we're talking about now is how you get. We're talking about what it is. Pirush. That what does it mean? In other words, let's define. This guy has Avas Hashem. Let's look at it like that. He's on the board. Guy has Avas Hashem. What does he look like? What does he look like? He looks like a person whose nefesh is naturally wanting to be close to Hashem. Now, you're not born this way necessarily, but his nefesh wants to be close to Hashem. Don't forget, this is not a Hasidic sefer. So when he says nefesh, he means the whole thing. Nefesh, ruach, neshama. His nefesh wants to be close to Hashem and be nehana me oiroi. See, you see all the chazals that say that what's olam haba like nena meziva, right? Niva meziva shchina, the whole idea of shchina. But that's different than yira, yeah? I'm not afraid of anything, necessarily. So that's the Chovos Haber says, Ava. By the way, this is not something, I've been learning this stuff for a long time, it's not something which was obvious to me. Like, Avas Hashem is, what's Avas Hashem? That I give what I give up. That seems to be, the Chovos Haber is saying, those are all symptoms, and those are all different avodas that you can do, maybe to get to Ava, but Avas Hashem, Pirush, Avas Hashem, that I have this natural tendency to want to be around God and get hana from His bracha. If you have a person that you always just want to be around to the point that you're a nudnik, you love that person. And if they keep pushing you away, then the feeling's not mutual. So, that's l'chayra what Ava is, and I think it's something we know naturally. I'll give you an example. Forgive me, but when my kids were growing up, so whatever I was doing, they were all around me. Your kids too. I mean, they were just like all around me. Like I'm trying to order the computer, they're all around me. So and I had 11 of them. So they're all around me. So, I mean, I remember saying a million times, America's a big country. Why you have to be right? Yeah, did I ever say? Why do you have to be right here on top of me? Go to there's other rooms here. There's other go play basketball or something. What do you? I did everything, so you shouldn't be on top of me. I built the whole house, so you should be on top. But what's the real shot? I mean, I should count my blessings. Because all it means is that there's a certain ava. What would you rather be? They'd never want to be around you? That's the ava. That is the ava. Now, I know everybody's thinking of the question, so why didn't I want them there? Okay, it's a kasha. But I do love my children. But ava is like everything else is a symptom. Everything else is not a. It's a sibid, it's an avoida, but it's not the etzam hadavar. That's
Facing them is, but you have to work on to get to that place.
You're not going to get there normally.
Sahara doesn't prevent you from feeling that.
Exactly right. How do you get there? How do you? What?
There is a natural drive.
But you need to somehow. Let's look at it as uncovering it.
As opposed to Yira, there's no natural drive for Yira.
The pasha, right? The pasha way that I'm understanding this is. There is, maybe I'm adding, but there is something natural within me which loves Hashem, like a child loves a parent, but it gets all messed up. And it gets all messed up, and you need to sort of clean that story up. One second.
The definition with loving people and Hashem seems to be different, because with people, it's you want to give. It's a love that doesn't depend on them. If they can't give me that, I don't need them anymore. With Hashem, we can't give anything. He's giving us everything.
Is it true? Is it true, you think? Like,
Hashem
doesn't have to need us, but he chose to need us, meaning
he doesn't need us to do his mitzvah.
he wants a dira b'tachtonim. Here we are. Let me just take it a step further. Just looking at the clock. I showed you the sefer before. Beautiful sefer, Sharei Chasidus. Sure, you got it for me. I think it's a beautiful sefer. And what it is it's a likut, a really good likut of Hasidish, the main Talmidei Baal Shem Tov, on every subject. What they said. So I looked here, Avas Hashem. So the first thing is, if I can find it out. In the Shar Hamidos, give me 1 second. It says here that the sorry, I'm not seeing it this second. He says here, I'll find it in a second inside, but he says that Midas Hayira and Midas Ha'ava, Yiras Haraimamus, we're talking about the real Yira. Yiras Haraimamus, still undefined a little bit, but Yiras Haraimamus, anything that has to do with Yira, Pachad, and Ava, he says, is a stira b'dei ubei. In other words, if he points out that the midah of Ava comes, if you look at the spheroids, Chesed Gvur Tiferes, that's a Choyd Yisoid Balchus. So what he says here is that the midah of Ava comes from the midah of Chesed. Ava's Yispashtis. The midah of Yira, in any form, comes from the midah of Gvur, Chesed Gvur, two sides. The midah of Yiras Ha'odesh, Hagarua Shebegarua, as he says, comes from Midas HaMalchus. So look at this triangle of Chesed, Gvura, Malchus. Makes sense, yeah? The lashon of the Zohar is that in Yira, I'm reading the Zohar, this I do have. It says in the Zohar, Is Yiras HaRaibabus, V'Is Yiras HaOinesh. There is Yiras as we know, there's Yiras HaRaibabus, and there's Yiras HaOinesh. V'Yira HaToiva V'Yikre, He Yiras HaRaibabus. And he says that the Iker, that in Kabbalistic language, Yiras HaRaibabus is called Yira Ilah, and Yiras HaOinesh is called Yira Tata. So it's Chesed, so it's really a stira b'nei ubei. Nevertheless, it's up to the person to somehow make a homogenation of these two things. Give me one more second. Here. Chayr. Just to speak this out, but Midas HaGvura, he's going in the order of Midas. Yesh shnei bechinos b'mitzvos hayira. Bechina achas b'kar Midas HaGvura. B'hu sheyeh adam yorei ba'atzmus Hashem Yisparach. Definition of Midas hayira is a person is in essence, let's say what Yitzchak said, in awe of Hashem. It's the only word I can think of in English. Awe, awestruck, awesome. God is awesome. So that's Yiras HaRaibabus. Adam Yorei, not you're afraid, shaking, but Yiras Yorei Me'atzvus Hashem Yisparach Shehu Makar HaYira. V'hu Madrega Gavoya Ba'oid V'lakach Yinikras B'Shem Yira Ilah. B'china Beis Makar B'Midas HaMalchus. Important information. That's a guy who's afraid I don't want to do, which halavai, but I don't want to do what I've be over on a mitzvah Hashem Yisparach. Machmas sheyarei midinim v'tzaris rois will be misa b'yoid she'agehenim she'adam b'kabel ha'laveris. I don't want to go to hell. I don't want to have bad luck. I don't want to be that kind of person. The b'chila zu he yiras ha'oinish v'eino ikar ha'yira v'kachi nikra b'shem yira Tato. The Haidu Shiurim Hashem Yisparach Madregas Pchusa. And then he says, like Reb Chaim Volozhin, Utchilas Havodas Ha'adam Havodas Tikkun Amidus. If you want to start growing, the place to start Hudafka Al Yidei Yiras Ha'oinish. Rachachar Chach V'Kabel Midas Shamayim Midas Ha'ava. Listen to the words. It's from the Mar of Shemesh. That when a person works on Yiras Ha'oinish, so Acher Kach Mekabel Midas Shamayim, you get a gift of Midas Ha'ava. When you have Yiras Ha'oinish, I don't know. That's unclear to me, and I want to explain that. K'moshi Yisparim Yiras Hashem B'ashar Avodas B'nei Yisrael. Midas HaMalchus, that's the tzir of Kol. Okay, here's what I was looking for. Yesh kama midos negdium. There are midos, so I was looking for negdium, which are oppose each other. Kigoyin ava v'yira. Sheheim shnei koiches hafchiyim. They're two opposite psychological states. They're two opposite. Seshveretz is hayin, yeah. Afilu hachi mipnei shebechol hakoiches ikar ritzonim hu lasis ritzonim Hashem Yisparach. This is where they come together to do the Ratzon Hashem, to bring Malchus Hashem into this world. So we say, okay, this is Yira Ilah, comes from the place of Gevura. This is Yira Tata, comes from the place of Malchus. But you see, you don't have to say that that's a bad thing. It could be Malchus is not worse than the Chesed and Gevura. Malchus is a culmination of Chesed, Gevura, Tiferes, Netzach, Yisoid. It all comes, Yisoid is the attacher, it all comes to Malchus. So we're talking about Malchus. Malchus is the only place where there can be a combination, a mezeg of Ava and Yira. Does anybody know what I'm talking about here? Like, are we right? I'm saying. Do I know what I'm talking about? I don't know. But I'm just saying the way the math works, the way the chart works, is that you have Ava, Yiras Haraimabus, and then you get to, by the time you get to Malchus, you don't only have Malchus, like Malchus, I'm afraid I'm going to get punished. That's true. That's Yiras Ha'odesh. But you also have a mezag of Kol Midos HaSfiros into the Malchus. So in there, that's the only place where you can make a combination of Yiras Ha'odesh and Avas Hashem.
But he emphasized the year there. He doesn't emphasize the combination. He's talking about the Yiras HaOynish.
Chesed is also in Malchus.
I understand, but he's not talking about that. So is everything else. But he's emphasizing Yiras HaOynish and Malchus. He doesn't talk about the Chesed.
Those are what Yiras Ha'odesh.
He does not Yiras HaOynish either. He's talking about Yiras HaOynish and Malchus. The others are there, but he's emphasizing that.
In terms of sequence, it sounds backwards, no?
Which part?
Because in terms of the hashpah, it's filtering down from Romamus, and then it goes down, it gets down to Malchus, and then you're at a lower level. So
You see, I think
you're supposed to, in the avoda, you're supposed to start off with Malchus, and then work your way up to Chesed.
I think let me say this, and like there's so much to say, and I want to say it, and then we'll finish Perek Ches on Sunday. But I would say this: Malchus is human, and human Malchus. This is where Shechina hits the ground. Right. Yisoid is Yosef was Midas HaYisoid, like Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim, Yosef Haya b'Mitzrayim, like part of this Gashmius world. So when you're talking about Chesed and Gevurah and Tiferes, you're otherworldly. You talk about the Kesser, it's beyond our grasp. Chesed, Gevurah, Tiferes, otherworldly. It's not like, and not necessarily correct for us. This really is the key to everything that we're talking about over here. It's not necessarily correct for us. You can't say it's a bad thing. It's Chesed, it's Gevurah, it's Tiferes. Netzach, Moshe Rabbeinu, Netzach, Yosef, Yesod. But Malchus is to be human. To be Malchus is to be human. So, to be human, to be in this world, part of this world. So to be human has within it an aspect of Yiras HaOynish, and it can grow to a Yiras HaRoibabus, and it has within it a bit of Avas Hashem. So the Yiras Hata is not something negative, it's something correct. That everything comes down to Malchus if you're talking about being human. If you're talking about being a Malach of some sort, or something other human, or being dead, so then maybe there is no longer any Yiras HaOynish. This is what the Sfarim say. He brings to the Baal Shem Tov that the minute, I don't even know what these words mean, but the minute you die, there's no more Yiras Shamayim. There's no more Yiras HaOynish anyways. It's all Ava. So, like the minute you let go of this goof, it's all about Ava. Because with stuff goes up, what are we afraid of? We're afraid of pain. We're afraid of discomfort. But I want to learn through the Rambam and see what, like the Rambam says. But what's interesting here is, go back to where we started. We have a Chovos HaLevavos definition. I think all this works in definition of Avas Hashem. Very, very important. That one's nefesh is naturally inclined to be close to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's Avas Hashem. Definition of Yira, it comes in two ways. It comes in the Yiras HaRoibabus, and then it comes into Malchus. Basically, what the Nefesh Hachaim is saying, just to cheat ahead, is that, look, we're humans here. So just to say, I'm only going to live in the Midas HaGvur, the Midas HaChesed, is like saying you're going to live in the Kesser. It's good to know, but that's not where we're at. That's not where we're at. Leave it for the next world. Right now, in this world, that's where halacha comes in. Halacha means halicha. Halicha's olam hula. So right now, in this world, this is what Hashem wants us to do. So where's that? That's in Malchus, where it's my business that has to be kosher. It's my speech that has to be kosher. It's my bedroom habits that have to be kosher. It's all about Malchus. Is always down on the grudgiest level, if you will. That's the grudgiest level. So is it garua shebegarua? Yeah, in a sense it's garua shebegarua, but on the other hand, that's where we're at. And then the machlokes here starts to take some deeper meaning. Okay, thank you very much.